Good morning and welcome to the show. Thanks for waking up with us. And we're waking up this Monday morning with J.T. Thompson. He's a nutritionist at Nation's Best Family Healthcare up here in Lynn Haven. J.T., welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much.
You know, we had an interesting conversation last time you were on about nutrition, and we talked about sugars and fats and some other things. But what are some of the benefits that you can get from a healthy diet?
It goes above and beyond.
Besides the obvious, living longer, I suppose.
It does add years to your life for sure. I think that most people begin to exercise or begin to try to eat healthy for physical appearance. Above and beyond the vanity reasons are all the health reasons. But if we were to take the body fat or weight or appearance thing out of the equation, there's a whole laundry list of things that you get as a benefit of eating healthy that people don't think about.
So it's not just looking good.
No, it's the difference in the way you feel, sleep patterns, energy levels, how fast your hair grows, how thick it is, how gray it is, how fast your fingernails grow, the hydration and tightness of your skin, and how much younger you look. I could show you picture after picture after picture of people that I have had that were chronically dehydrated, which is about 75% of everyone. Hydrate them over the course of a 2-week period, and it looks like they had a facelift. Botox injections, skin's tighter, whites of their eyes is whiter.
Wow.
Their hair's thicker, not nearly as brittle. I mean, our bodies are 75% water. If you're not giving it enough, then of course it's going to take it from the things that aren't necessary. Your skin, hair, nails, everything else from keep it where it needs it. And you know, you've got dry skin and brittle nails and brittle hair and everything
and milky
else.
eyes and all that attractive stuff. How much is enough water? How much should we be drinking?
It varies. Obviously, based on body type and size makes a difference, but then also energy out. How much are you working out? What type of work you do? Things like that. But if I had to throw a general number out there that would fit the most folks, probably between 64 and 96 ounces. So between half a gallon and a gallon a day is going to be probably the most common numbers.
You know, people really push themselves, and everybody's busy. We're all working hard. We got a lot of things to do. We have a lot of tasks. I mean, who has time to drink all that water? I mean, really.
Keep it with you is the best advice that I can give. If you think that you're going to walk to the water cooler and fill a cup up, 22 times because it's this big, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen if you carry a 16.9 ounce bottle that everybody loves to get the little, at the convenience store bottles. Your very best bet is to just keep it with you. Go get either a gallon jug, or if that's too barbaric for you, then go get a 32 ounce or a 50 ounce bottle of water and use that bottle all week. Keep it with you, refill it, put Crystal Light or Mio or flavor it if you want, and
just get those fluids in any way you can. Now, soda, if you're drinking Cokes or whatever, some people like a soft drink. That's really not going to hydrate you, is it?
Not very much.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have some water in that, but I mean, you've got water in food. I mean, you get some water from food. It's not enough. I mean, and certainly the sodas, I mean, really that's just polluted water. You just have sodium and some caramel color and some different things in a diet soda.
It's like liquid candy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, especially the regular sodas that are really, really high in sugar and sodium, but having those isn't going to, be to your detriment. Having only those is.
So you just got to get that water in no matter what.
That's probably one of your nutrition almost doesn't matter if you're not hydrated.
It's funny you should say nails, hair, skin. All the things that people go for special treatments for.
Oh yeah.
You get special haircuts. Women are obsessive about their skin and all that, and their nails, and then you can have that all look good if you just drink enough water.
Very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got the whole dietary component of that as well. You talked about energy levels. Is a poor diet just really slow you down, or is it volume, or is it quality, or is it a combination of both?
In terms of how much you eat and how often you eat, it's a little bit of both. If your body needs X amount of protein, carbs, and fat over, say, 24-hour period of time, you can't just have 2 meals and get it in. Your body can't soak up that much in a certain period of time or assimilate. I imagine your body as a sponge, and I'm trying to get a gallon of water in that sponge. That gallon of water is what you need over a 24-hour period of time. I can't just dump it all over it.
Nope.
It gets saturated and it's over. But the way you can do that is to pour it systematically. A little bit, saturate it, let it dry out, saturate it, let it dry out. And if you do that systematically over a 24-hour period of time, you could get the whole jug in without any spilling over, and that spillover or body fat, isn't there.
Wow, this is amazing stuff. Maybe we could talk about some of the things that we can do. I know you had mentioned you have some commandments for people to follow.
Yeah.
And we're going to run off to the local weather, and after that, you can give me JT's commandments
That
for
sounds
good
good.
eating. All right.
Absolutely.
You're watching Waking Up with Don, and we're off to your local weather, brought to you by the West Pittman Law Firm. westpittmanlawfirm.com. Welcome back to the show. You're Waking Up with Don, and this morning I've got JT Thompson from Nation's Best Family Healthcare here in Lynn Haven. JT's a nutritionist, and he's going to give us his commandments on good nutrition and what we should be doing. JT, we talked a lot about water in the last segment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just drinking enough water is key.
That's top of the list for me. That's
Yeah.
always going to be top of the list, and without that, the rest is almost irrelevant. You
Yeah,
got to
and that's
get
how
your water in.
And that's how you get rid of all that fat and all those, I guess, impurities that are in your body, the things your body doesn't need.
Your body gets rid of a lot of toxins that way, and once you use a fat cell, the fat cell doesn't ever leave your body, by the way. Once you get one, you own it forever. Unless
Wow.
you literally have it sucked out of you, you've got it. You can shrink it down to a very, very tiny amount, and it kind of gets put back on the shelf in storage. But that waste product, the leftover from the sugar that was used for energy, has got to leave your body some way. And 80% of that leaves through urine. If you're not drinking enough water, it's not leaving.
So your body creates new fat cells, but never gets rid of those fat cells
God's
once
cruel
they're created.
trick. Yes.
Holy mackerel!
Yeah. You can gain a fat cell. They'll spawn off a new cell easily, but it never goes away.
But the best you could hope for is to shrink those fat cells.
That's right.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, well, yeah, that's pretty depressing news. Okay. Now, what else do we need to be doing, JT, beside the water?
Water is the big thing. The second thing that I would say do would be to watch your sugar intake and have no sugar by itself. If you're going to have sugar, have it with a protein source or with a meal or for a dessert. But sugar by itself or even fruit by itself as a snack in the middle of the afternoon wreaks havoc on your body. Insulin levels change. I mean, if your body has got enough glycogen and you're all stored up and good to go and you have extra sugar, either you need to get up and go run down the street and burn it off right now, or your body's going to store it as good energy or fat for later.
So when you talk about sugar by itself, does that include coffee, sugar in your coffee?
It doesn't matter if it's sucrose, fructose, lactose, dextrose. It's all the same to your body. It's all energy to your body.
And you look at those breakfast cereals, they're just so full of sugar. Like, I enjoy an occasional bowl of Fruit Loops, but they're nothing but sugar. And they add more sugar to them. I remember them when I was a kid, not as sweet as they are now.
Yeah, there's more sugar added, and then on top of that, you're probably using milk.
Yeah.
And then folks use skim milk, which they feel is better than whole milk, and actually skim milk has got more lactose than whole does.
Really?
So it's for the sugar and the lactose, which is really what gets you in the milk. It doesn't matter if you're going to drink milk, you might as well drink whole. I mean,
No kidding.
the saturated fat content in the whole milk is different from the cream. But the lactose, which is really what gets you, is the bad part. And that's actually one of my things would be to avoid milk.
Yeah.
We're the only mammals on the planet that drink milk into adulthood.
Well, that's true. I guess if you're a 100-pound, 200-pound baby calf, you need that milk. But as an adult, I mean...
We don't need it. And we drink it from another mammal. I mean, it's certainly a want. We don't need it. The calcium and the vitamin D are everywhere else. We certainly don't need it. It's a want, for sure. To eliminate the milk from your diet is much healthier, not even getting into the amount of hormones and bad stuff that's in milk. Just take healthy milk, and the lactose and fat content is just off the charts.
Crikey. What else do we got? What are some of the other commandments, JT?
Every time you eat, you should have protein on the plate. It doesn't matter where it comes from, but protein every meal. Another is to...
So if you're having a bagel, throw some lox on there.
Something.
Something.
Yes. Or have a protein shake with it or part of a protein bar with it, but just the carb by itself is bad. Eat within 30 to 45 minutes of getting up. Starting your day off, everybody hears breakfast is the most important meal.
It's almost cliche, isn't it?
It is. But I'd argue that it's either that or the one right before you go to sleep. Everyone needs to forget about the don't eat after 6 o'clock thing. You need to eat right before you go to bed. What you eat is important. Protein shake or protein bar, light protein, liquid protein is good. But eating every 3 to 4 hours all day, every waking hour up to and including right before you go to bed is important.
So just keep feeding that furnace.
You have to. And we go back to what we were talking about before the break, that trying to get that gallon into that sponge. If you're going to get the nutrients that you need, the protein, the carbs, and the essential fats that you need, you have to do it systematically throughout the day. You can't Can't get it in 3 meals.
JT Thompson, thanks so much for getting us smart on nutrition, and make sure to keep on moving out there. And we can get in touch with you at Nation's Best Family Healthcare, or we can find you on Facebook as well, right?
Absolutely, both places.
All right, and we'll be right back after your Mad Hatter Minute.
Hi, I'm David Lovett, and this is your Mad Hatter Minute. Today, we're going to be talking about oil leaks. There's nothing more annoying to move your car and see that big, black, grimy oil stain underneath your vehicle where it used to be parked. Oil leaks aren't only embarrassing, they're an indication of a problem and must be taken care of immediately. Gaskets and seals are what keep oil inside the motor. There are dozens of gaskets on the engine. There are gaskets on top of the motor, there are gaskets on bottom of the motor, there are gaskets on the left side, and there are gaskets on the right side, in the front, in the rear. Any one of these gaskets can fail, causing an engine oil leak. Oil leaks can evolve into a very serious repair. Should you not replenish the oil as you lose it, oil will not be available to lubricate the internal moving parts of the engine. Engine failure can occur. Some vehicles have gaskets that protect oil from getting on top of the spark plug. Should oil get on top of the spark plug as you're driving, a misfire condition will occur. Your car will spit and sputter and act like it's going to die while driving down the road. You'll think it's a very serious repair, but it's not. Best advice is to get it into a repair facility and have them check it. Replace the valve cover gasket and the valve cover grommets. The grommets are what separate the engine oil from the spark plugs. Clean the spark plugs and you should be good as new. Best advice, if you have an oil leak, take it to your trusted auto repair facility. Have them identify the oil leak and fix the problem correctly. I am David Lovett, and that has been your Mad Hatter Minute.
Hey folks, this is Joshua Brown with Mad Hatter on 23rd Street. Is your check engine light on? If it is, text MADHAT28, that's MADHAT28, to 24247, and we'll check it for free.
Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Dr. Aaron Shores from Spine and Neuro Pain Specialists here in Panama City. Hi, Doc. Welcome back to the show.
Good morning.
It's good to see you. You know, we were talking off camera about surgery, and in particular spine surgery. Do you find that people are sometimes overtreated when it comes to surgery, or maybe doctors are, I don't know, for lack of a better term, practicing defensive medicine by going right to surgery?
Well, I think we're in a society where a lot of physicians do practice defensive medicine for lots of different reasons, which could be a long discussion. But I do think sometimes people get referred to a surgeon or go to the surgeon first, and sometimes rightfully so, to make sure that they don't require surgery and to get other recommendations on how to treat their pain. That certainly is true.
Yeah, you know, surgery isn't your first option, though, is it?
Well, in many instances, particularly related to pain, surgery is not always necessarily the first option. There are some indications where surgery should be a first option. Some of those would be spinal instability, perhaps after some sort of a traumatic event, where if you don't stabilize the spine, you could cause injury to the spinal cord, or which could cause paralysis or maybe even death in some instances. Progressive neurologic deficits, foot drops, or you can't lift your arm one day as a result of a giant disc herniation or something, or bowel or bladder changes, new onset incontinence would be all indications for more urgent surgical indications.
That's all from your spine. I mean, you can become incontinent because of a spinal injury or
yes, you can.
Condition?
Yeah,
Wow.
you certainly can. And there's a few other rare exceptions there where surgery may be a first-line choice, but in the pain setting, many times it's not the first-line choice, and there are other conservative options that should be maximized first.
Do you find that people come in and if you're in pain, you just want to get fixed right away? Do you think that maybe even guys more than girls will come in and say, "Hey, doc, cut me, do what it takes." It's like, fix this and get me out of here.
Yeah, that's very true. I think the male as a species, we tend to be a little bit impatient and want to just fix things. And when it pertains to your spine and pain management, pinch nerves and those things, sometimes that impatience can get people into trouble. There are certainly indications where surgery can certainly be, like we said before, a first-line option. But I spend a lot of time with folks, especially men, because again, we're sometimes impatient, saying, listen, surgery is not without its risk, and there are no guarantees sometimes. So you want to make sure that in elective cases, you've maximized all your conservative options, because if you do have surgery and have a bad outcome, you can't go back and undo it, and sometimes folks spend the rest of their life going, gosh, I wished I coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah.
So you want to know that you maximized all your conservative options first, and even if the conservative options don't work, at least people will have the peace of mind of knowing that they failed every other reasonable thing under the sun before surgery, and I just find sometimes that makes your outcomes a little bit easier to live with.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. I know for me, I'm kind of a chicken when it comes to the whole doctor thing and needles and procedures and all that thing. And even there's a risk associated with every surgery. There's a risk associated with just being put under for surgery with anesthesia, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. And unfortunately, nothing in healthcare is 100% safe. There's risk to surgery. There's risk to taking a Tylenol. It's just a matter of risk stratification. And in elective cases, I always kind of share folks, we want to create a situation where the benefits far outweigh the risk. And I think sometimes that just depends on how much of an impact the pain or the pinched nerve or whatever someone may be experiencing has on that individual's life, because everybody is different.
Yeah. So what is the most common condition that you see with people with back pain that come in to see you? Is there any one common denominator that people have when it comes to back pain?
Well, I think the common thread is everybody wants it to go away.
Yeah, I would think so.
As rapidly as possible. And sometimes, that can be accomplished, but sometimes that unfortunately cannot be accomplished. And the one thing I always, in elective cases, or particularly in people who have had pain for many years, is when considering surgery, and under elective situations, and you should discuss that with your doctor on what's elective and what's not elective. But I just ask people two questions. Number one, are you going to be pain-free if you have an intervention? And number two, are you going to be doing functionally anything more after the procedure than you are today? And if the answer to both those questions is no, then I think you always want to use the old carpenter adage, measure twice and cut once.
Yeah, and that's good advice basically for anything.
Right, absolutely.
Well, Dr. Aaron Shores, thank you so much for that sage advice. So remember, measure twice, cut once, or don't cut at all. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm here with Thomas Winterman. He's a published author and a clinical counselor. And he wrote this wonderful book called The Thrive Life. And, we tend to talk about it every Monday, and we pull little gems of wisdom out of The Thrive Life to help you live a better life. But we're going to talk about something a little different this time, aren't we?
Yeah, something a little more morbid at first. Let's talk about death.
Talk about death?
Let's talk about death.
Boy, coming from a guy who wrote a book called The Thrive Life, that's a little off the charts.
In our culture, death is a topic that we avoid at all costs. It's very taboo. No one wants to talk about it. No one wants to think about it. But when we talk about existential therapy, which is meaning therapy, which is a lot of what my book is based on, death is one of the absolute pillars of living a fulfilled and meaningful life. Because once you understand that there's an end to your life, that gives your life some purpose. It gives you some perspective.
Because, the older I get, at least, it's like, oh man, I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
I got this bucket list. I got to do stuff.
Yeah, right. Right. And one of the exercises you can do is you can ask yourself a question. If I died today, if today was my last day, what would my greatest regret be?
Oh, geez. I've heard a lot of people say that it's not the things you do that you regret, it's the things you don't do that you kind of regret.
That's right.
The things that you wished you would have tried but didn't.
That's right. So you ask yourself the question. You figure out what the answer is. You take a deep breath and you realize I'm alive today, and you get to work because there's still time. You're still breathing.
Yeah, well, that's really good advice. Now, do you believe in bucket lists, or do you kind of do it day by day, or?
I believe in it to an extent. You can't live every day thinking about death because then it would just become normal at that point. It wouldn't be something that motivated you anymore. But if you try, if you're intentional about little things here and there that move you towards your goals, towards living a life with no regrets, you'll be a lot closer than you would be otherwise.
Yeah, the last time you were on, we talked a little bit about procrastination and how there is no tomorrow.
That's right.
And that kind of fits right into it.
Yep.
I mean that, you're going to die. We're all going to die. Yep. Nobody gets out of this life alive. So it's kind of a good idea to take care of those things you think are important.
That's right. Start living while you're alive.
Start living while you're alive, because there may be absolutely no tomorrow.
That's right.
See, I don't know if I like this little tip or not, but you know, at least if you aim high and you have a big list, and maybe you fall a little bit short, at least you know you gave it your all, right?
That's right, right. I mean, don't blow your savings on a plane ticket to Italy today,
Yeah.
you know, and,
Yeah.
and leave your family with no money because you're trying to live like you're dying.
Yeah.
You know, don't do that. But focus on the little things that you can change, the little things that you can improve to give your life some meaning.
Yeah, so meaningful work is really a key to a good life, isn't it?
That's it.
Thomas Winterman, thank you for that Thrive Tip of the Week. We'll see you next time.